Welcome back to Story Stash. I'm your host Duncan, and these are some of my stories I've written. Today I'm reading from my book Ghost Whisperer, and this is chapter 28. So let's get started. Chapter 28. The next morning, Ed awoke in the plush bedroom at Ellen's mansion. As his wits returned to him, he recalled last night they went to a gathering in Snoqualmie. As it was late, he'd agreed to stay over. Ed got up and showered. Everything remained unchanged from his previous visit. Soon, Ed dressed and wandered downstairs to the family room. "Good morning, Ed," said Ellen. Her smile was radiant. He could drown in that smile. Ed walked over to the coffee pot and poured himself a cup. "Good morning, dear. You're cheerful today." "I'm happy to see you. The last morning you woke up here, you snuck out without saying goodbye." "I'm sorry about that. When I see you, it's very hard to leave." "Perhaps you don't have to. You could move out of your apartment and live here." This made Ed pause. He stared at her. Ed left his coffee behind forgotten. He sat down beside her as they held hands. "Is that what you really want? You could find someone much better." "I know what I want, and I'm looking at him. You saved my life. Without you, I'd be dead, and I wouldn't have any of this. I saved you because it was the correct action. Letting you die wasn't an option. I expect nothing from my efforts except that you live your life." "I know. You're a decent man." Ed remembered his coffee. He'd left it on the table. "It's too early to make important decisions. Besides, I need to have my coffee." They let go of each other. Ellen laughed as Ed fetched his coffee and sat down. "What are your parameters?" he asked. "I don't understand. What do you mean?" "So, I move in here. Can I keep my job?" "No parameters, dear. You can keep your job, that's fine. If you want to be a medicine man, it's fine with me. If you want to work with the CIA, that's also fine." "You know about the CIA?" "Duh, you were pursued by Russian agents. You have meetings with Noah Johnson, the Seattle branch head. I don't know how that started, but they treat you as a valued asset." "Yeah. Connor Price was a former CIA agent. He got me involved. Actually, I haven't seen him recently. My security detail checked your background. It's normal when their principal is getting close to someone. You passed," she said. "Wow. So why not go to work? Tonight you can bring back some essentials, and you can decide about your apartment later." "Okay, I'll do that. Thank you for not making this awkward." "Making you feel awkward is the last thing I want." "Of course, dear." She laughed and kissed him. Ed found his car parked outside the mansion. He drove off for work, passing the main gate and waving at the guard as he passed. Surprisingly, almost all the lights along his route were green. His commute was even faster than from his apartment. Ed decided he'd check the map to see which was closest when he had time. Once again, Ed found an ideal parking spot. It was near the building and under a streetlight. He exited his car and walked up the steps to his workplace. Blake Hill and several others stood outside the entrance. "What's happening?" asked Ed. "We've been locked out. Dysnatech is no more," said Blake. "Crap." Ed walked up to the door. It had a note taped on it. "We're to return Friday with any company property. Then we get our last paycheck," said Blake. "That's smart." His other co-workers hung around for a while and gradually left. Ed stepped back and looked at the building he'd worked in for years. He couldn't believe it was over. Ed noticed someone looking out of the window of the corner office. The grey translucent features were obviously a ghost. When asked later, he couldn't recall why he did it, but Ed waved at the ghost. He gestured for it to come downstairs and outside. The ghost looked at him, confused, so Ed repeated waving and gestures. The ghost floated through the glass and descended to the ground. "Hello, Mr. Prejan," said Ed. Arthur Prejan was the owner and CEO of Dysnatech. Fortunately, the other co-workers had departed, or they'd see him talking to thin air. "Mr. Tanner, what are you doing outside? Why aren't you in your cubicle?" he asked. Ed realized Mr. Prejan was unaware of what was going on. "Do you realize you're dead?" "I guess I am. It must have happened recently. I can't recall the details." "Please follow me and see the sign on the front door." Ed walked over and the ghost floated to the entrance. The ghost read the notice. "What? They can't do this." "Do what? Close Dysnatech?" "It appears they did." "And who's they?" asked Ed. "It's my damn kids. They inherit Dysnatech on my death. I had stipulated they were to keep it going." Ed took out his phone and took a picture of the notice. It had a phone number for the commercial liquidators. "You must have died recently. We were open yesterday." "Yes. How come you can see me?" "Do you remember when I got mugged? After I recovered, I found I could see and hear ghosts." "Well, that explains it. So what can we do now?" "Well, you can't do much, sir. You're dead. I need to find a new job." "Would you help me get this business reopened? We've got customers and employees who depend on us." "I don't know, sir. I have to go talk with my partner. Will you be available if I need to talk to you?" "I'll be here. I have nowhere else to go." "Very good. I'll see you later, sir." Ed returned to his car and drove back to Ellen's mansion. Ed drove up to the front gate and the security guard waved him through. Soon he pulled up outside the main entrance. Ed exited his car and went inside. He walked to the family room. Ellen sat on their usual sofa, reading documents. "Hello, Ed. You're back early," said Ellen. "I'm sorry I am interrupting you." Ed was clearly flustered. "No, not at all. Please sit down and tell me what's up." Ed sat down. Ellen turned to face him with her full attention. "They closed Dysnatech. I lost my job." Ellen reached out and held him in a hug. "That sucks." "There's more. I met the ghost of the late owner and CEO. He was livid that his kids closed down his company as soon as he died." "He didn't have a will? You can put stipulations to keep the business running." "I think he did, but his kids brought in the liquidators already." "Ellen, he asked for my help to save his business." "Is that your preference? Do you want to return to your job?" "We've got a hot product. There are customers and employees that depend on the business." "Would you like me to help you? I know people," she asked. "You'd do that for me?" "Absolutely I would. You're very important to me." "Okay, thank you." Ellen made a call. "Ed, one of my attorneys is going to be here within an hour. Make notes in preparation. I'll order more coffee." Ed found a pad and pen while Ellen picked up a phone. "It'll be lunch soon, so I ordered some food as well." "Thank you, dear. We'll get through this. Together." "Yes, one for all." Ed hugged her. He didn't know what he'd have done without her. Within an hour, John Wright, Ellen's attorney, arrived. Ellen and Ed met him in the boardroom. This room was new to Ed. The room had a long wooden table surrounded by fancy leather chairs. Ellen sat at the head of the table, with Ed beside her. John sat on the other side. "Thank you for coming out today. I'll let Ed explain the situation," said Ellen. John took out a legal-size pad and an expensive-looking pen. He looked up at Ed. "Until today, I worked at Dysnatech. The principal owner and CEO has recently died, and his kids closed his business." Can I get the address of Dysnatech? Asked John. Ed handed him a business card. This should suffice. Thank you. Please continue. Dysnatech has a viable software product. They have customers with residual income stream. They have employees that have lost their jobs. What is your goal? Asked John. I'd like to resume the business, said Ed. Do you have contact information for the company handling the liquidation? Yes, I do. Ed pulled out his phone and displayed the image of the note from the front door. He handed it to John, who wrote the number on his pad. Do you have the name of the late principal owner and CEO? Yes, his name was Arthur Pridgeon. Thank you. Ellen, what budget do we have? He asked. Up to what we spent on the Simmons project, said Ellen. Okay, I've got enough to start on this. Leave it with me, and I'll be in touch. John Wright stood and shook both Ed and Ellen's hands before leaving the room. That's my best attorney, said Ellen, after he had left. Thank you, dear. Perhaps I should visit my apartment and gather my belongings, assuming your offer is still good. Ellen punched him on his arm. You goof. Hurry back. Ed left the mansion and found his car outside, waiting for him. He discovered cardboard moving boxes and tape on the back seat. Ed drove past the main gate, waving at the guard as he passed. He headed towards his apartment. Somehow, he knew things would be okay. Once Ed returned to his apartment complex, he parked and took the boxes up to his unit. He packed his essentials into a couple of suitcases and then began filling boxes. Suddenly, Connor floated through the wall. Hello, Ed. Long time no see. Oh, hello, Connor. How are you doing? Since the incident with the Russians, it's been rather quiet. I've been checking on various groups, but nothing to report. How about you? As of this morning, I lost my job. The business owner died, and the new owners are liquidating. Ouch. Can I help? I talked to the ghost of the late Arthur Pridgeon. You'll find him at my old workplace. I suggest you introduce yourself. Please tell him we've got a lawyer looking into the business. Will do. Are you moving out already? I'm moving over to Ellen's mansion. The timing was fortunate. She invited me to move in the same morning that I found out I'd lost my job. Yes, that's fortunate. You won't be able to afford this apartment without a job. I hope to sort out my employment status soon. Besides, I'm frequently busy with ghosts and my role as a medicine man. Right. You save anyone new recently? Yes, we rescued a little girl in the wild near Snoqualmie. I got help from a crow, an eagle, and a bear. Excellent. You make a difference, Ed. Did you need me to pass any intel to Noah? Asked Ed. Not yet. I'll go talk with the late Arthur Pridgeon. Thank you for visiting. If you don't find me here, you can check over at Ellen's mansion. Will do. Take care, Ed, said Connor. He then vanished. Ed continued packing stuff into boxes. Later, he loaded his suitcases into his car and drove off towards Ellen's mansion. Ed passed the main gate and the security guard waved him through. He pulled up outside the main entrance. Ed exited his car and went inside, carrying his bags. He left them in the hall and walked up to the family room. Ellen sat with her laptop. She put it down and rushed to hug him. Hey there, Ed. Welcome back. Thank you. I brought back my essential belongings. I'm moving in. Woohoo! Ellen bounced up and down while still hugging him. Ed struggled to remain standing. Connor visited my apartment while I was packing. I asked him to visit the late owner and CEO of Dysnatech. Good idea. We can expect an update from our attorney soon. Great. Do we have plans for this evening? Asked Ed. Ellen still held him and looked up into his eyes. I didn't make any plans, but now you're here, we could. Are you interested in attending a gala with me soon? If you want to attend something, I'll gladly attend with you. You have attended every event or gathering I've invited you to. It's only fair. We must arrange for some outfits, including a tux or two. A lot of these events have a dress code, plus your appearance reflects on me. I'll arrange it. Cool. Did you want to eat out tonight? Just name the venue and we'll make it happen. Anywhere? Yes, anywhere. I've always wanted to try out the rotating restaurant on the Space Needle. Does that interest you? Can we book it this late? Just a moment, said Ellen. She picked up her phone and called someone. Okay, we're booked for this evening. The SUV can drive us there. Thank you, Ellen. I've never been there before. Tonight's a clear night. We should have an outstanding view of the city lights. We're going to have so much fun together. Yes, dear. Later, Ed moved his belongings upstairs. He changed into a suit and tie. When he returned to the family room, he discovered Ellen had changed as well. It was several levels more than Ed could hope to dress. Wow, you look great, said Ed. You too. Ed and Ellen exited the main entrance. The SUV was out front and 2 security guards stood ready. We ride in the back seat. No worries about parking either. Ed helped Ellen into the SUV before entering himself. The drive downtown was uneventful. The SUV stopped outside the building entrance. One guard exited with them and the 3 walked inside. They walked past a line of people waiting for the elevator. We're not joining the lineup? Asked Ed. There's a VIP route, said Ellen. Oh, okay. They passed a checkpoint and entered a door to another elevator. Soon the elevator ascended. They held hands and Ellen smiled at Ed. You know, when I was spirit walking, I couldn't handle heights. I had to ask Sarah to descend to a more comfortable level, said Ed. Will you be all right here? I think so. We're inside a building. When I was spirit walking, there was no floor beneath me. I thought I could fall and die. Ellen gripped his hand firmly. There'll be no falling tonight. When they exited the elevator, a maitre d' escorted them directly to a table by the window. He helped seat Ellen, then Ed. This is nice, said Ellen. I've not been here before either. I didn't know they had a VIP route. Most fancy restaurants that cater to VIPs have one. I've gone out rarely since I got my inheritance, but now you're with me, we can change that. As long as we don't overeat, said Ed with a grin. I can arrange a consultation with my nutritionist, and I haven't shown you the gymnasium yet. You have a gymnasium? A fully equipped one. I can have a trainer to devise a program for you. Wow. A waiter arrived and delivered champagne and tall glasses. He opened the bottle and poured the champagne for them. After the waiter left, Ellen picked up her glass. A toast to us. To us, said Ed. They sipped their champagne. Soon the waiter returned with their food. It came on metal towers with 3 levels. Wow, this is impressive, said Ed. Ellen looked at Ed. Agreed. I didn't ask if you had any allergies. I pre-ordered this. No, I'm fine with this. It's great. I don't know if this is standard fare or perhaps they're trying to impress us as VIPs. Oh, I'm very impressed. Ed took a bite of a shrimp tempura. Yum. The meal continued from there. Ed looked down at the city lights below them. He thought he saw a ghost flying along. Soon Ellen put down her fork. Ed, I don't want you to have high expectations about Dysnatech. We'll do what we can, but it'll probably not be the same as before. I understand. Change is normal for high-tech companies. Right, and if it doesn't work out, be prepared to move forward. Of course, dear, said Ed. Ellen smiled. Looking out the window, Ed saw another ghost floating by below them. "Hey, I can see a ghost down there, flying along." Ellen looked out the window. "Really? Too bad I can't see it." "Hey, there's another ghost over there, and it's coming this way." "Didn't you tell me that ghosts can sense you? Perhaps it was a bad idea coming up here." "You think they're drawn to me?" asked Ed. "I wish I knew how to turn it off." "You can ask Connor or Sarah to help you test that." "Uh-oh, there's more coming this way." "We'd better leave before they reach us," said Ellen. She gestured at the nearby waiter. "Check, please." With barely time to spare, Ed and Ellen left the revolving restaurant. They met their security guard, and the three of them descended via the elevator. "The SUV is outside the exit," said the security guard. "Good, we're returning home," said Ellen. They departed the building and approached the SUV in a hurry. Although neither guard saw anything, they erred on the side of caution. They safely got their charges into the SUV and drove away. Well, that concludes chapter 28. In the next chapter, 29, Ed and Ellen start a company. They visit a bar near Pike Place Market, and they meet a water spirit in Ellen's pool. So until that time, bye for now.